This is the Foy Jr. Show, where faith, truth, and courage come together. Join us as we explore life's deeper purpose and carry the torch of conviction. The show begins now.
Welcome to the Foy Jr. Show. I appreciate you all being here today. You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. And if this episode challenges you, not if you agree with it, but if it challenges you, share it with someone to challenge. Because this one, it's going to hit a little different. And I'd like to start with a question. Have you ever seen something so clearly, I mean clearly, and then watch somebody else look at the same exact thing, same facts, same moment, same reality, and come to a completely different conclusion? And you're sitting there thinking, how did they not see this? We're living in that right now. That should sound familiar. Division, noise, strong opinions, people locked, and I mean deadlocked into their positions. Not willing to listen, not questioning, not seeking, just defending their truth. And as I'm reading the book of John, man, what a book. I've read this a couple times, but this time it's hitting me in a different way. I'm seeing things between the lines I haven't seen before. And I realized something, again, that stopped me. And it's not new. It's human nature. John chapter 9, with the blind man being healed, and John chapter 11, with Jesus raising Lazarus out of the tomb. Let's go to the blind man he heals. Think about the blind man he healed and Lazarus rising and what happens. The blind man wasn't injured. He wasn't temporarily blind. He was born blind. And now he can see. Lazarus wasn't part dead or dying. He was dead in a tomb for 4 days. And Jesus rose him from the dead. Now, that's a moment of celebration. Wouldn't you agree? A moment of awe. A moment where everyone steps back and says, look what God just did. But that's not what happens. The leaders question it. They investigate it. They challenge it. Not because they couldn't see it, but because they didn't want to accept it. Let that sit. They were not searching for truth. They were protecting their position. And that should hit us all. Because I had to ask this question about myself. And it's uncomfortable. Where in my life am I doing the same thing? We all do it. We defend what we believe. We filter everything through our perspective. And when something challenges us, we don't lean into it. We push it back. And here's the deeper layer. The more invested you are in your belief, the harder it is to let go. Think about the leaders in that moment. They weren't just wrong. They were invested in their authority, invested in their influence, invested in their interpretation of the truth, invested in being right at all cost. And that investment, it blinded them. Because once you've built your identity around being right, admitting you're wrong doesn't feel like correction. It feels like loss. And that's dangerous. Because now, you're not seeking the truth anymore. You're defending your territory. Let me bring this into today, but stay with me here. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in politically. I'm not here to pick sides. I'm here to ask a harder question. Are you seeing clearly, or are you protecting your side? Because right now, we live in a world where narratives are loud, emotions are high, information is filtered, and people are choosing sides before seeking truth. And once you choose a side, everything gets interrupted through that lens. You don't ask, is this the truth? You ask, does this align with what I already believe? It's not discernment. That's defense. And I've done it in business, relationships, leadership, politics, moments where I knew something didn't sit right, but I ignored it. Why? Because it challenged me just a little too much. Because it forced me to admit I might be wrong. And instead of adjusting, I doubled down. And every time I did that, it cost me. It cost me relationships. It cost me clarity. And it cost me leadership. Because here's the truth. If you can't change your mind, you can't lead. Let that sink in. Leadership isn't about being right. It's about getting it right. And the leaders in John chapter 9 and John chapter 11, they missed it. And here's what's crazy. They were unintelligent. They were brilliant biblical scholars. Not because they lacked evidence, but because they were too invested in their vision of truth. Key line there, folks, don't miss it. They were too invested in their vision of truth. And that raises a powerful question. What were they holding onto so tightly that they couldn't see God standing in front of them? Maybe it was control. Maybe it was power. Or maybe it was expectation. Maybe it was that they thought God should look like someone who was taking down the Roman Empire instead of what he actually looked like. And that hits. It hits me because we still do that today. We expect things to look a certain way, to speak a certain way, to act a certain way, to be working on what we believe to be important in the moment, fit our understanding. And when it doesn't, we reject it. Not because it's wrong, but because it's unfamiliar. And here's another layer. Sometimes we're so focused on what we want to happen that we miss what's actually happening. What if, just for a moment, the leaderships of the time of John, chapter 9 and 11, weren't so obsessed with overthrowing Rome? What would it look like today? That's heavy. And it leads to this. You can be right in front of the truth and still miss it. I can be right in front of the truth and still miss it. So now the question becomes personal, not political, not cultural, personal. Where am I? Am I so emotionally invested, I can't see clearly? Am I so committed to being right, I won't consider being wrong? Am I so attached to my perspective, I will not seek truth? Because discernment, real discernment, requires humility. Scripture says, the way of a fool seems right to them, but the wise listen to advice. Proverbs 12:15. And test the spirits. 1 John 4:1. That means pause. Evaluate. Don't react immediately. And this ties into everything we've been talking about in the past couple episodes. Intentionality, timing, discernment. Because if you don't discern, you react. If you react, you divide. And if you divide, you lose your ability to lead. And I'll tell you this, the hardest person I've ever had to lead is me. My thoughts, my bias, my reactions, my ego, capital E, capital G, capital O. That's the battlefield. It's not out there. It's in here. So before you point fingers, before you say, how could they not see it? We need to ask, am I seeing clearly? We, as in we all, need to ask, am I seeing clearly? Because clarity, it's not automatic. I've learned it's developed through prayer, reflection, humility, and the willingness to be corrected. So let me leave you with this. In a world full of noise, are you reacting or are you discerning? Are you defending your position or are you seeking truth? Are you choosing sides or are you choosing clarity? Because real leadership isn't about proving you're right. It's about being willing to be refined. So, discern. Be careful. Be aware. Pray. Remember intentionality. Remember discernment. Whatever you do, don't take the bait. God bless, and I'll see you next week.
Do you love listening to the Buddy Foy Jr. Show and want to hear his thoughts and commentary as news breaks? You can. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Buddy Foy Jr. That's at Buddy Foy Jr. So you can watch his short video clips, enjoy pictures he posts, and read his tweets. But he also wants to hear from you on whether or not you agree or disagree with him, what topics are most important to you, and what guests you'd like him to schedule for his show. Email him anytime at buddyfoyjr@gmail.com. That's buddyfoyjr@gmail.com, and he'll read and reply to as many as he can. If you've been a guest at the Chateau on the Lake or the Chateau Anna Maria and want to buy a gift certificate or souvenir, visit the website and click Shop to buy shirts, hats, coffee mugs, and more. Remember to follow Buddy on Twitter and Instagram at Buddy Foy Jr. or email him at buddyfoyjr@gmail.com.